Hey, it's Patrick from JMP Cycles, and let's talk about tires. Specifically, all the information that is right on the side of your tire. And whether you're a brand new rider or somebody's been riding for a number of years, this is all very important information, especially when it comes to replacing the tire on your motorcycle. So let's start with some things that might seem kind of obvious, like the brand of tire and the model of tire. So more than likely, when you're replacing a tire on your motorcycle, there's a really good chance you're going to replace them one at a time. Typically, the rear tends to wear out quicker than the front. That's why that information is very important. If we're replacing a rear tire, kind of match the one on the front because it'll perform best that way. So normally you have the manufacturer, like this one here, Metzeler, and the type of tire, Cruise Tech, right here. And as an example, let's say I have a set of Metzeler Cruise Techs on my bike. It's a very kind of sticky, more performance-oriented tire, where I'm probably not going to want to replace that with, say, a Metzeler 888, which is a more mileage-oriented tire, because I'll have a nice grippy tire in the front and then something a little harder on the back. Let's move on to sizing. This is very, very important when replacing your tire, obviously. This first number right here is a 180. Could be all kinds of different things on your tire, depending if it's a front or a rear. It's generally the largest number. That refers to the width in millimeters across the tire. Not all manufacturers' widths line up with other manufacturers. A 140 in a certain brand may be a little bit wider or narrower than a 140 in another brand. So just know that going forward when replacing your tires. The second number, this is the aspect ratio. This basically expresses this distance here as a percentage of this distance here. So basically, this sidewall is 55% of this 180 millimeters right here. That's called the aspect ratio. Something else, we're talking about sizes of tires. This one is marked, like I said, as a 180 and a 55. You may see that expressed as an alphanumeric value. The first value here, you might see that as an MT or an MH or something like that. And those letters correspond to sizes. So a MT is like a 130. Don't ask me why, we're not gonna get into that rabbit hole of confusion, but I will tell you there's an easy way to figure that out. If you go to the tire finder on our website, go to the drop down on size, it lines those up for you. All you need to know is you basically need to replicate those sizes when you put them on your bike. B18, let's talk about the 18 first. 18 is the wheel size, meaning this distance across here. Obviously, if you don't have the right wheel size, that tire is not fitting on your motorcycle. The B in this case stands for bias ply. This will either be a B or an R, meaning a bias tire or a radial tire. Generally not a great idea to mix bias and radial tires. Now, having said that, I know some of you out there are gonna jump on me and be like, there are manufacturers that mix them. And yes, in the past, there have been manufacturers that send out bikes with a radial on one side and a bias ply on the other. But generally speaking, if you're gonna go on the safe side, you want to keep bias tires with bias tires and radial tires with radial tires. A radial tire tends to be more of like a performance style tire. A bias tire is more cruiser related. And again, I'm speaking in generalities here. We're not gonna go down that wormhole though. We're gonna keep moving on. Right here, we have an 80H. Could be different on your tire and it means different things. The 80 is specifically talking about the load rating and the letter H is talking about a speed rating. Something like a sport bike would be a Z-rated tire, rated for like above 168 miles an hour. Most people probably don't have to worry about that if you're on a cruiser. If you go too light on your load rating, your tire's not gonna wear correctly. If you go too heavy, you might actually get a worse ride. If you have a really heavy load rating on there, you don't need it. That tire could be a lot stiffer than what you need on your bike and affect the ride of the motorcycle. So that load and speed rating is very important. A couple other numbers that may go missed here. All these tires have this 4-digit code, and what that is that is when this tire was manufactured. We've had this one around the shop for a while because we use it for displays and things like that, so it's a little bit older. It says 5018. The first two numbers, the 50, that means it was made in the 50th week of 2018. So it's good to know that so you're not getting an old tire. Here at JMP, we sell a lot of tires, turn our inventory over very quickly, so you're gonna get a fresh tire. Moving on around the tire, the rotation arrow. Now, this is important, especially if you're putting on your own tires. You wanna make sure you get that rotation arrow going the correct direction. Otherwise, you're gonna have weird handling characteristics and very weird wear characteristics. So if you're putting those tires on yourself, make sure you're looking for that rotation arrow. Something else to consider if you're putting on your own tires is this little dot right here. You're gonna see these in like red and yellow on tires, and that is a balance dot. That doesn't mean your tire's gonna be balanced correctly if you line it up, but what that is for is to line up that dot with the valve stem. It's gonna give you the best case scenario for balancing that wheel. I do recommend getting those tires balanced though, even if you line up the balance dot. Also, it'll say on the side of the tire if it is tubeless or tube type. These days, almost every single tire out there is capable of having a tube put in it, but it does say that on the side of the tire. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a comment and go work on those motorcycles.